Alrighty, hello and welcome to the Kino Corner, where we talk about the very best in movies, news, and trailers from a certain point of view. That's just me today. Uh, uh, don't worry, I guess, but life happens. It is what it is. But honestly, this topic is. I don't expect a lot of people to have the same positive view on this pair of movies as I do. Because I know some people I know don't really care for musicals, and some people don't really care for the studio. But no, so this could be a very short one today, but that's okay. Yeah, we'll be talking. Well, I'll be talking about Sing, its sequel, Sing Two, and briefly mentioning that Netflix short they did for Halloween, only because it's cool. But do I sense hot takes brewing? If these are hot takes, then sure. Look, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but it is what it is. But yeah, I expect you to at least sing during the spicier takes. I will tell you what. I will make an attempt to sing at some point during the podcast. How about that? Yeah, there. That's the promise. At some point between now and look, it's fitting. It's about Sing. Go ahead, clip it. Put the proof on the thing. Oh, well, let's go ahead and kick these things off with of course, the normal preamble. Get a little bit of movie news going in. Uh, Most of this stuff kind of came up recently. Like, oh, correction, either right after the last episode or right before this one. Not much in the middle there. But because first bit of news, more of a minor announcement, but the Wit Studio One Piece, that new anime, it's going to has a release date of I believe it was February 7th. Confirm that I have it written. Yes. No, I know I don't have a day, but it's coming out February 2027. The interesting thing is that some people are a little confused by it. Some people are conflating into the live action. What this is, just kind of a recoup. This is basically a starting from zero, simplified anime of One Piece using like modern pacing, modern techniques, and everything there. The first batch will be 7 episodes. It's going to cover about the first 50 chapters, I believe. No, less than that. Because it's going to basically stop right around Syrup Village as they enter the Baratier. It's going to stop there. So that's okay. So basically, it's going to be the story of these four, or rather, three of them, if you know, you know, before really diving into the fourth story. And which means that second batch, which, if I am understanding, will be later in the year, probably I think fall, unless they do a yearly thing, will be the rest of East Blue up till Arlong, which will be like 7 more episodes. So people are conflating it to the live action due to pacing. Not so much. I don't know. Like, it's gonna have double the episode count, double the time, double everything as the live action to do exactly what it did in like 8 episodes. So I think it's going to be fine. But we have a release date. Of course, I wanted to bring it up because I'm hyped for it. Simple, whatever. All right. The next piece of news kind of threw me, and I'm a little confused, but also I guess here's a little bit of hot take relieved. There is going to be a new Planet of the Apes. It's in the works. Matt Shackman, the director of Fantastic Four, is doing this one. But the big news is that purportedly this is not going to be a continuation of Kingdom, which was the last Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Apes movies. But what that ultimately means, I don't know. Could this be a continuation of where War left off? Maybe. Could this be something new entirely? Also, maybe. But I think part of it is Kingdom didn't have the reception that people wanted compared to the three that came prior. And a lot of the reviews for Kingdom were very middling. I liked Kingdom. I really did not like how it ended. This, I guess, if you want to call this as a hot take, I really did not like the ending to Kingdom. It just feels like it's just taking a thematic backpedal to everything Planet of the Apes. And it's just creating this weird cycle of bullshit. That's just not what this story is about. At least not from my perspective. So I don't know what it means that it's not going to be a continuation of that, if they're basically backpedaling what they tried to do, or if this is going to be unrelated to anything particular. But that is, as of now, that is happening. If I were to give a hope for what this could be, I would say, I want this to be not a direct sequel to War, but something that happens. I would say ignore Kingdom, make Kingdom just like an Elseworld thing, or just make it just so far in the future. Where imagine you redo the first Planet of the Apes movie from the perspective of the apes, where there's like clearly their perspective. Like the first, like I don't, for those who haven't seen it, the original '70s Planet of the Apes, or was it '70s? Gosh, I can't think of the year, but Griffin will know. Maybe it was '60s, but I keep thinking it was like '70s or early '80s. But yeah, either way, y'all know 1968. Okay, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. But I would think it'd be a fun little way to like remake that, but just shifting perspective as a direct sequel to this, as a direct sequel to the three that they just did. That way, I don't know. From my mind, it would create kind of a like close the gap, so to speak, between this new remake like trilogy, the original series of movies, and just kind of keeping it, I guess, thematically appropriate. That's what I would want personally, but I can only judge things as I see it come out. I maybe this is bad news for some people who are like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I don't know, but yeah. And hey, you know what? Devil's advocate. There was good stuff in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. There was a lot of good scenes. I liked the not Elon Musk monkey, but no, but yeah, Proxima Cedar. But you know, that's a whole other discussion to talk about, like all the new Elon Musk, Elon Musky. Honestly, like the new Planet of the Apes trilogy is, or now quadrilogy, is probably something to put on the wheel for later, something to talk about in more detail, because I, I I feel weird talking about all Planet of the Apes movies in one kind of breath. I'd want to talk more about the original like series, because they had a very unique tone, and then the new like the new movies, like the trilogy and Kingdom. It's kind of this like it's kind of like if I were to do more Godzilla stuff later, which I will. It's it's my fucking show. I'm who I am. I would do more precise things like this is a legacy of the Showa era. This is a legacy of this. It's more about just the collective tone and theme of this era of movies is different than how it is now. So it's just weird. It feels like one side is losing something if I just blindly conflate them, if that makes sense. But again, to get back on topic, I'm curious about what this new movie could be. It right? I know, but we'll see what happens. I have no doubt this director will do fine with it. I mean, after the last, but again, we'll see how it goes. Like I'm not gonna do the whole oh all eyes are on it. I doubt it's that serious, but the news that it's not connected to Kingdom, I'm sure, raised a few eyebrows, caught a few headlines. Um, some more recent news though is I swear I like a blink and things happen with this movie. It feels like literally like last week. I know it was earlier, but it feels like so not so long ago that the teasers and stuff and all of it came out. But the everything is wrapped filming for Sonic 4. And this picture basically shows the onset prop they used for Metal Sonic. So we got to have an idea of what he's going to look like, and it's video game accurate, which I'm sure I'm sure fans are totally happy about that. Isn't that right, Griffin? You feel free to share your excitement or your absolute disdain in the chat, of course. but but no, I know video game movies are a very specific niche, and I have my own. Yeah, I'm gonna call you out. You're the biggest Sonic fan I know, Griffin. You're the biggest Sonic fan I know. Those are just facts. But now, video game movies are a very interesting niche, and the Sonic movies, particularly, I think hold a very are held in high esteem by a lot of people. Like some people see them as like a standard for video game movies. I don't know if I'd go that far. There's a lot of video game movies I'd want to compare it to. I'm also somebody who I will die on the hill that the Warcraft movie was not that bad. Honestly, it's one of the better ones. So was Rampage. But I do acknowledge if I were to do like top 5 video game movies of all time, there's a good chance two of those live action Sonic movies are going to be on there, unless I added like a weird arbitrary one franchise per rule or some shit. They are good, but it's the reason I bring up that it's such a niche thing is because of how much backing and how much care this seems to be getting now, and how much acceptance this seems to have just on a cultural level of just how weird the Sonic universe is versus what's expected, and just we all know it's just kind of a normal thing. It's not like this the age of Sonic or anything. I wouldn't say that, but it's fascinating and really cool that Sonic has just weirdly cemented himself as just almost a film staple. And I know it's gonna sound like a weird comparison, but you remember how like early MCU was, like early phase two MCU, where it's just Marvel movies were just a norm, and we were just yeah, we're gonna get them. It's gonna be cool. We don't have to. I feel like that's kind of where Sonic is now. Like yeah, like they'll get like their bad show or their bad movie or whatever that like happens, but at the end of the day, they people just have this weird acceptance that like, yeah, it's good, it's going to be a fun time. Let's go see it. Let's go see it. It'll be freaking awesome. Even people who aren't Sonic fans, and I think that speaks of like, volumes of just the crew that they get for these movies, the passion that goes into it. Yes, it's yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not the golden age of Sonic, but Sonic is basically, despite its ups and downs, these movies have done wonders to keep Sonic in a good place. And when I see that the filming is wrapped up and they're showing a game accurate Metal Sonic and people are just, it makes me happy. As someone who is not a fan of the franchise, I can't help but want, like, I want the treatment these movies are getting for almost every other franchise. Like, even I want to see the bizarre. Like, I agree, it had its ups and downs. Right. Waiting for Sonic Boom live action. God, that's. I wonder if okay, the movies are not afraid to be memey. I just have to wonder if any of the Sonic Boom memes are gonna find their way into this movie. The first one that comes to mind is the Knuckles approved, but I don't know. Yeah, no, that's just yeah. Sonic 4 is done filming. We see what another Sonic looks like. There's a non-zero chance that around Comic Con in a gosh, what is that, a month or two? Yeah, 2 months. And yeah, in about a month or two, we'll get a trailer. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but considering everything, there's a fair chance between now and the Game Awards, we are going to get a full trailer for this movie. Actually it's very likely. So definitely hype for that. Definitely can't wait to see it. Definitely hype for this movie. But that brings us to the talk about a little bit of about trailers that are out. All right, yeah. Let's talk about the first one. Okay, the only reason I want to talk about this is because it's weird. I'm not a sitcom guy. There's like a few that I can tolerate, and I there's a few I want to see because they're, I don't know, there's scenes that make me laugh, like one is called Bob Hart's Abishola. That's fine. And honestly, if I'm in the mood for cringy, stupid bullshit, Big Bang Theory. This show is called Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. And if you're watching this, I want you to look at this picture on the screen right now. And I want you to look at that and think, does this look like it's in the same universe as Big Bang Theory? No. It's fucking weird, right? It's straight up multiverse stuff. It's, I don't even know how to judge the trailer. It just, apparently there's like two stewards from different dimensions and they travel through multiverse portals. It looks like a LARPing of it. Right. The only way I could see to justify it is at the end of it, he's basically just like pitching a comic, and that's where we get our one obligatory cameo from Sheldon and Leonard. Dark universe, alternate timeline where Sheldon doesn't move into an apartment. Like, I guess, but it's basically using all of the side characters that didn't make it into the main cast. It it's and I'm not saying the show's gonna be bad, but holy shit, this is weird. Like, I don't want to shy away from that. This is just a weird thing to do. It's basically up there. It's just like to use our sitcom as an example, say a Big Bang Theory a while ago had its first spin-off, Young Sheldon, and there was precedent for that because Sheldon would often talk about his like his childhood, and there's. I have not watched Young Sheldon. I have only seen like a handful of clips. I don't think I'm going to. Should stay off the shrooms. And there was another spin-off from Young Sheldon. I don't I know a little about Young Sheldon. I know less about this. It's about like his brother George. I don't fucking know, but there's like a paper trail there. There is a genuine series of events and justification for those spin-offs to exist, and you can see there's like, yeah, no, this is the same world. Where the fuck does this fit in? Like, uh, it, I'm sorry. I keep looking at the picture and just seeing Stuart's girlfriend doing that serious thing. Just this show better end as just Stewart pitching his comic to Leonard and Sheldon and giving their honest feedback. I know for God's sakes, Kripke is a dictator in this one. If you know the lore of the show, you know just at some point this is somebody. This whole thing feels like a fan fiction. I don't know how else to describe it, and I don't want to harp on it too much, but I just wanted to bring it up because Stewart fails to save the universe. Just looks weird. It feels weird. It doesn't look bad, and that even in of itself makes it even weirder. But moving on to something completely different and something that makes me happy. Uh, okay, there's been trailers for this before. I don't believe I've talked about it, but now that they have a full trailer, I do want to talk about it. I love monster movies. Y'all know it. I know it. I'm not going to shy away. This is the whole reason I'm talking about this. Norwegian films get like called Kraken. Literally a giant octopus movie. Literally. It's, it has one of the most, I guess, I wouldn't say generic, but one of the more expected monster movie plots. It's just all these people trying to basically like, ooh, we gotta test these new little drugged out fish or whatever the fuck in this lake. Nothing can go wrong. And then this kraken that basically eats these drugged out fish is basically just comes out of the earth, fucking steroids. Like that's basically the plot of the movie. Like like they did another trailer for it, and as I'm describing it as goofy, but it's not. It's at least it's not presenting itself as goofy. If you watch the trailer for this, the closest comparison I can think of is actually that movie Troll on Netflix. That yes, there is some minor things and like minor jokes, and they of course they have like Hall the Mountain King as the closing credits, the little nods that like we know we're watching, we know what you expect. Here are these, but the vast majority of it seems like they're gonna try to play it serious and try to take it seriously. I am of the firm opinion that the absolute best monster movies either take themselves completely seriously and try and with respect to the situation, or completely dedicate to having fun with what they're doing. If you try to do something in the middle, it could be a good movie. It just won't be one of the greats. Like think of the original 1954 Gojira. That's a movie that takes itself completely seriously. Like and it is a lot of people consider it one of the best monster movies of all time for good reason. Versus another one that it's starting to actually get a cult following from what I'm noticing. Eight-Legged Freaks. I do think that is one of the funniest and one of the best monster movies ever. And it is just for God's sakes. There's a scene where a spider and a cat have a fucking Looney Tunes style fight where they basically imprint each other on the freaking drywall. It's goofy as all get out. But yeah, this movie seems to be taking itself seriously, not really doing any of the goofy shenanigans. My ultimate point, though, is because it's taking it so seriously, despite having these just cartoonishly simple premises, I have high hopes that this is going to be not one of the best monster movies of all time, but maybe just like an underground hit. Like that's why I'm bringing attention to it now, despite there being other trailers. They were kind of just bare bones basic. They did a final like a full trailer, and I was like, okay, this is what I need to see. This is what I need confirmation of. That really makes me excited to give this movie a fair shake. If you like monster movies, really watch the trailer. And hell, if you don't, again, this movie it takes itself completely seriously. It tries to do everything in the concept, and the Kraken may or may not be Cthulhu, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. There's a shot that's kind of intimidating, but it really reminds me of the movie Underwater if you've seen it. But but, but yeah, oh, cool monster movie or cool looking monster movie. Can't wait to give it a fair shot. Trailer looks awesome. All right, okay, this trailer has awesome timing. The last podcast episode with Chakron, and we talked about the new Resident Evil movie, and I made the comment that it didn't really look like Resident Evil. It looked like Evil Dead without the comedy, so like early Evil Dead. And then right after that, we get Evil Dead Burn, which really looks like, it made me realize how wrong I was with that assessment. Because no, the Evil Dead Burn really is like the last Evil Dead movie and the first Evil Dead movie. It really is leaning into the horror. Yes, there's probably like some kind of giggly like comedy and just absurd visuals. It's a horror movie first. It just really made me reevaluate what the Resident Evil movie looked like because uh, honestly, Evil Dead Burn looks really good. There's some uncomfortable scenes in this trailer that tell me that oh, this is going to be a very intimate and fucked up horror movie. If that's your thing, great. I like Evil Dead in this economy. I know, right? It's more likely than you think. But yeah, basically, it's based off of the trailer. This doesn't seem to directly connect with any of the other movies, or rather, it just exists in the same universe. But I also didn't really watch the last one. So basically, this family just seems to want to use the Book of the Dead to revive somebody, or they heard they could because they want to keep their family together, or they don't like this one member of the family who's like this outcast. And I'm just gonna outright tell you right now, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, there is some very uncomfortably um, relatable family dynamics portrayed in this trailer about like maybe people who are not unable to live up to expectations, some people who just are toxic to the point of tearing the family apart, who just some people who will get bloody, violent, and abusive to keep everyone together and in line. There is it is just every negative family dynamic portrayed in this trailer. I think that's why I'm personally unlikely to see it. I like horror movies, but the horror movies that I've just like, I can't, are the ones that are a little more psychological, the ones that really are more existential. Is just I don't really, I do not do well with those kind of movies that maybe do those kind of questions. If it's just like a standard slasher or just category stuff, that's what it is. What it is. I can watch, no problem. But like, think of a game like Soma. The ending of Soma fucked me up. Like, so that tells you the kind of movies that I just can't do. So like this one, I can tell from the trailer. This is if I go see this movie, I'm gonna have yeah. But Soma is on another level. But this is the kind of movie where I could tell from the trailer if I go see this, I'm going to walk out of that theater with uncomfortable feelings despite how good the movie is. I really recommend people watch this trailer, and if you like horror, I really recommend, based off of the trailer, you go see it. And that feels really weird to recommend it despite knowing that I'm probably personally not going to go see it. But just because I'm personally not going to go see something doesn't mean it's not worth seeing. This looks like it's worth seeing. It's just not in my wheelhouse. I uh, like it is a movie that seems just tailor made to make you uncomfortable and make you just filled with dread. And honestly, that's awesome. I don't think we're in a golden age of like Sonic or video game movies. I think this year we're in a golden age of indie horror specifically. See, Ferdy, you and I differ on that level. But I think indie horror is in like a prime level right now. So yeah, y'all eating good this year. But yeah, now yes. Recommend that. Next trailer I gotta talk about here. Okay, this is a recent trailer, and I doubt y'all know what this is. But I saw it and I had to talk about it because I know the history of what it is and horror shit. Okay, this movie is called The Human Vapor. That title sounds goofy as all because it's based off of an old Toho production. Yes, Toho, people who made Godzilla. They didn't just make Godzilla, they did other things, a lot of you standout things, including a lot of like spy thrillers and other things, weirdly enough, around that time. But that's neither here nor there. One of the movies they made is called The Human Vapor. I only have a rudimentary knowledge of that movie. It's one of those hard to find old movies. But the reason I bring that up and why that even not be seeing that original just is so awesome to me. This existing on Netflix, this getting a trailer on Netflix with like all these updated effects treatments fills me with so much hope in the world of remakes because uh, it, I don't mind remakes, but if you're gonna remake something, have a reason. Remake bad movies and remake really really old movies that maybe the idea didn't quite fly the first time because we didn't couldn't have the technology to portray what they wanted to portray. This is a perfect example of that. This is a guy who turns into literal vapor, and the effect of him turning into vapor, it's not a simple like Adobe Premiere just kind of popping into a puff of smoke. It's not that simple. You can kind of see in the image here, but his body literally dissolves into vapor to the point where you could, for a brief moment, see like a decay, like his body like rapid decaying into a skeleton as it turns into vapor. Oh yeah, for real. Like I really recommend looking at this trailer. It looks so cool. Like the trailer looks. This is like a. I'm just gonna say that I think this guy is a serial killer. I can't tell from the trailer if this guy's a serial killer or an anti-hero, but he is not a good guy. and, and that's kind of just oh shit. I am excited for a different movie like this. And it fills me with hope just like I want this to do well so maybe Toho and other studios can get the hint. It's like, yes, remakes are fine. Remake the stuff we actually want you to fucking remake. And anti serial hero, right? But I can't recommend looking at this trailer enough. It looks so cool. Like I'm gonna. Oh, and hey, if you want to watch the original, I'm sure there's a way to watch the original Human Vapor, like because it was from like the 50s. But it's not lost media yet. But it is one of those hard to come by movies. If you give a remake of Matango some thought of the horror elements, right? Like if this does well, Griffin, a modern remake of Matango is on the table. I don't. It's not a guarantee would happen, but I would not be surprised if this doing well would lead to a modern remake of Matango. But that's also why I want to see it because I want to be as objective as I can when I watch this. Because yeah, this is a when I watch, not an if. But like when I watch this, like I want to judge this as fairly. I want to know that this the modern Toho studios with the people they hire, they are able to do a more like these horror thrillers or all these thrillers like the old movies. I know they could do horror. I've seen Shin Godzilla. I've seen Godzilla minus one. Holy crap, those movies make you afraid. But I want to see more down to earth. I want to see if they could do it at this scale. Also, finding a copy of the original movie is a challenge. I'm tempted. Hey, if you do, we can watch it together. But because I definitely want to see the new one. It looks really, really cool. Again, watch the trailer. Oh my god! Now, the last trailer we got to talk about is one I have talked about before because they've dropped a few trailers, but they've all been kind of sparse of information. Wildwood, and this new trailer actually gives plot details, so I know what the is going on, and I'm so happy about that. Take a little swig of my water. This is gonna be the last trailer of this I watch, and probably the last trailer of this I even talk about before it comes out, because of my personal rules. Like once a trailer sells me on a movie, that's it. I'm gonna talk about as many trailers as I can because I do this podcast. I want to make this a job. I want to make this a career. But when I get to a point where I am sufficiently excited and just I don't believe there's anything else I could glean from the trailers that could ruin it, I'm going to try not to watch anymore. The only exceptions being around like big events and things. So like if there's a trailer that comes out amongst the Comic Con trailers, it's kind of we'll also get there or Super Bowl trailers, which there was. But this trailer kind of gives us the idea of what Wildwood is, and basically the main character that the girl whose name escapes me, but she's trying to save her sister. Like it seems like a monkey's paw scenario where she wants to explore the world, go see everything, and her parents want to like keep her inside and just try to keep her safe. But they're not like being all like overprotective. There's more like a like why do you need to go outside? It's like just go to school and come here. So they're more like confused at the concept, and she wants to explore the woods, but by just playing outside doing this stuff, she gets caught this I would say unexpected, but I guess unexpected is a apt term. Some other entity kidnaps the little brother, and it's she basically has to go to this magical realm to try to like save her. Like think like a something similar to like Spirited Away or like the Labyrinth. Actually, that's probably a really good way to think about it. Like somewhere between Spirited Away and the Labyrinth, but taking place in like a Fey Woods. That's probably a great way to think about what the Wild Woods is. Of course, I love Leica. The effects and all the stop motion look great. Like, and I mean great. Some of the shots in the trailer almost don't look stop motion. Like it's that good. Like the cinematography just oh oh my god, it looks so gorgeous. Like the best way to sum up the plot is and how this girl feels about it, everything she's in, and just this scenario is she's talking to a character who may be the villain. Again, I say maybe until it's confirmed in the movie itself. I know how these movies go, but she basically goes like, "I don't force me to be a part of your fairy tale." And I don't know. That's a first off cool line, but I'm just like, oh, theme of the movie. Write your own story. But yeah, it is a beautiful looking film. And now that I know generally what I'm getting into, I'm very excited to see it. I'm definitely gonna go see it as well. And I honestly like all of the trailers today. They look good. I really recommend you watch all the trailers. It's just the only caveat is that Stewart fails to save the universe. It's just so why is it you know what? No, not gonna ruin this mood. Wildwood looks awesome. Kraken looks awesome. Evil Dead Burn looks good, even though it's not in my wheelhouse. It all looks so good. Honestly, I can't help recommend enough. You go through all these trailers. That now brings us to the next, which is the second to last component: new and recent films. Now, there are two movies I saw recently. There's your singing. No, I'm kidding. I'll sing more. I'll sing more. But uh, one I saw in theaters, one I saw just on Netflix recently. I think both of which I kind of talked about. But I'll talk about the Netflix one first because I think I had the least to say about it. Uh, there's that movie that came out earlier in the year called Goat that I when I first saw the trailers for, I immediately dismissed it as just it's just another kids movie, not for me. But as reviews came out that the movie was a lot of people would describe it as, "Oh wow, it's not that bad. It's it's actually a pretty decent movie." It's like, "Really? The basketball goat movie?" All right. So when it came to Netflix, I sat down and gave it a shot. Honestly, no, they're right. It's not that bad. I I was my bar was just so mentally low for just what it was, and I already don't really care for basketball. So that's where my head's at. But even then, the movie's just like, no, it's good. I I guess if I were to be more specific, the only okay, I'll start with the negatives because there are negatives in Goat. Um, I would say pacing is a big one. It's an hour and a half long movie, which on the whole is great. We need more of those. I think it is wonderful in the beginning and wonderful in the last third. The entire middle section feels like so quick and condensed. Like they do a lot in that period of time. It feels like this movie needs to be longer, and I think they were trying to just shorten it for the sake of like parents and kids, which is good. It's just I I I, I think the it's keeping the movie from being going from a decent movie to a really good one potentially. It depends on how they would pad out that time or how they'd write it, but again, that's there because the other big downside is while the characters are good, talk more about that in a second. There are some characters that don't get as much time as you want them to, and they don't leave as much of an impact that you really care. Like even there's some side characters that they don't have a lot of development or anything, but they leave an impact, so it's fine. Like my favorite character in the movie is Modo because Modo is icon. When you see the movie, you will know. But it's like, but he's a Komodo dragon voiced by Nick Kroll, the guy from Big Mouth, and oh my god, he is. He is the most ridiculous fucking dude. It's like, hey, coach wants us to run Eagle 27. Y'all know what that is? No, I've eaten 27 Eagles once. it is it is dumb, but it's a fun dumb. There's characters that I want to get back on track here. I keep distracting myself, but basically, there's characters that they don't really connect with because they don't leave as much of an impact, or and you don't really see their development. You're just kind of told what their flaw is. I think the biggest offenders of that would be Olivia, who's like this ostrich. It's like a charming movie. It is, and to a lesser extent, the Rhino, who, if he had more, he would be my favorite character because I love his lines. I love like what they tried to do with him, but but that leads me to the good stuff. Like I said, some of the characters don't work. The ones that they focus on, which is obviously like Will, who's the goat, Jet, who is his panther, they work like fantastic. They sold the movie, and it honestly, this is gonna sound like a weird compliment. Interpersonal relationships are showed very, very well in this movie because there's a big reason why Will wants to do roar ball is what they call it in this universe. Why he wants to be part of roar, why he wants to like play the game, and they he has these two friends, and the movie shows why they are his friends, what they do with each other, and they never do like any side romantic bullshit. They feel like genuine friends, and that is very refreshing. Like they have their own little quirks, and then of course he has a diner he goes to, and all these like local folks that they talk with. Charming is a great way to describe it, like and how they just set up this. Ah, I know it sounds like I'm stopping and stumbling, but I don't want to say too much about like the world they inhabit and like certain characters because I don't want to spoil too much. Like this isn't movie of the year. This isn't. I don't even know if I would nominate this for an Oscar. But honestly, it's worth watching. It's definitely something I would. It's definitely something if I had kids, I would show my kids. Like it is that kind of movie. Like it's the kind of movie we actually got a lot in the 80s and 90s. Those kids movies that are like when you sit down and watch them are oh, this is a little deeper than you'd think. And like you don't mind watching that like stand the test of time. Ones that you know aren't like gonna break any fucking records or they're not gonna like change the world, but they're gonna like stand firm as something that a certain generation of kids love. Like things like We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, or like a American Tail, or all these movies that are really really good. They do a lot, and we look back on like Homeward Bound is another one. I think I know it's gonna sound weird. I put it in that vein of something I really think this is a movie that people are gonna look back on just like all these basketball kids who like really want some to like look at are gonna like this. They're gonna look back like this was our movie. This was my childhood movie. That's what it feels like. But good movie. I do recommend it. The other movie I did see, completely different freaking tone. Mortal Kombat 2. Saw that shit in theaters. Ooh, and I am definitely not going to spoil this. Oh, I know the bar is low, but I do think this is the best Mortal Kombat movie so far. The live action ones, I should say. I should specify. It is so much better. Okay, so I liked the last one. I didn't love it. it did that weird thing they do a lot in like actually they did it a lot in like early 2000s action movies and even some MCU movies where they dedicated so much time to over explaining how the power system works. It's just like they just ignore that suspension of disbelief is just something audiences have. And so like half of the movie was like this is the tournament, this is how powers work, this is the dimensions of this weird fucking spike thing, and like now for the actual fight, like when it was Mortal Kombat, the first one was good. The Mortal Kombat 2 basically skips the first part of that. There is an overarching plot, but the plot is generally like, all right, here's the second tournament, hey Johnny Cage, you're gonna be part of this one now, what, go. That's the plot. That's it. And the movie is better because of it. Yeah, there's like little character interactions you get, and I do have my like favorite characters, but like, oh my god, the fights are so good, and they do their homework. Like even my basic bitch knowledge, I don't play fighting games, but I could look at these characters and go, I recognize that move. I know that character does that move. I've seen that fatality in YouTube reels, but planning to see it on Tuesday. You're gonna have a good time. Like there's one. I don't want to say it. It's a spoiler, but there is a dynamic between two characters that maybe I'm just so disconnected from Mortal Kombat. I don't register that if this was a thing before, but I'm here for it. And I I'm not gonna say who, but it's which okay. I'll say it's between Johnny Cage and somebody. I'm not gonna say who, but they have this dynamic that I was not expecting, but I'm totally here for it because it's hilarious. Like and and I don't want to set expectations, but Carl Urban is a really good Johnny Cage. Like I liked him a lot. Like I think it's clear they're trying to go with the older grizzled Johnny Cage, much like the more recent Mortal Kombat games. I think that's a smart move, because what little I understand about the Mortal Kombat games, I do think that's a more interesting story just from an outsider perspective. That's just me, but yeah, I can't recommend this enough. It is worth seeing in theaters if you are able, but I know like shit's expensive right now. Don't push yourself if you can. But either way, I recommend this. Mortal Kombat 2 was a banger of a movie. Oh my gosh. Oh, and of course they do the thing in the closing credits where they do the Mortal Kombat song, of course. And that's just try. I need to restrain myself because if I go any further, I will say spoilers, and I can't. I cannot. No spoilers. No spoilers. Go see movie. It's good. I'm gonna shut myself up with my ramen. Yum. Anyway, but let's go ahead and move on, shall we? To the main thing we're going to talk about today. Let's sing a song, everybody. In a bit, but all right. For those who haven't seen this pair of movies, Illumination Entertainment, writing they did, of course, did Despicable Me and a few others. One of the reader projects they did one year. This is a while ago. This is still when I was working for the school district. But they did a movie called Sing. It boasted a lot of big names. Had like Seth MacFarlane, uh, like Scarlett Johansson. Um, oh gosh, I just thought of his name and I can't. Matthew McConaughey. Like it had a lot of big names, a lot of just singing songs. The whole premise of the movie is that it's a singing competition. And I'm going to tell you right out the gate, that's literally all the movie is. If you're expecting like the life and times and the drama of people who sing in the theater. Why are you watching this? But the movie was never advertised as anything else. They're literally just hosting a fun, like getting some talented singers, hosting a fundraiser to save their theater, and the entire last half of the movie is them singing these awesome pop songs and sung really well. That's it. Like your tolerance for this movie is going to be your tolerance of musicals and kids movies. That's probably that is why like I think a lot of people I know don't really go for it because I know again I know some people who don't like musicals. I know some people who don't really care for kids movies, and I know some people who just don't like Illumination. Look, minions aside, Illumination is a talented studio. They know how to do good work. I just wish they did it more often. It's like I like the first Despicable Me, and I like the Mario movies, and I like the Sing movies. That's kind of my bar right now with Illumination. But in the Sing movies, do have a weird. They're. I want to address this before I go into detail about both of them. But there's a weird complaint I heard after the first one that I think is insultingly unfair. And if you're not going to see Sing because of this reason, you're an idiot. Is that people were comparing it to Zootopia because they go look at the world and Sing and they wonder why it's not as detailed. The world of Zootopia, they think it's the same universe as Zootopia, ignoring the fact that it's a different fucking film studio. And like Zootopia takes great care to explain like how all these different sized animals interact in the world, and there's a lot of great world building in Zootopia because they wanted to make a fluid world. That's the point of that movie. That's not what this movie is. That's not what this movie was ever trying to be. A bunch of funny animals sing pop songs. I don't under. Why do we need to stop and just? But but how does the koala like live in the same apartment complex as the elephant? Like who gives a shit? It's an America's Got Talent, right? That's what I'm saying. But so many people would just compare it to Zootopia and just think the movie is lesser because it's not like Zootopia. And I'm sorry if you're not going to see it because you have a similar perception. You're an idiot. Not every anthropomorphic animal movie is the same. I think maybe because I grew up with like golden age Disney and like and all that stuff, maybe just that simple fact is just burned into my skull. But I thought that it was an easy enough concept to grasp, but I guess it was fucking wrong. Hmm. I take another bite of ramen. But yeah, it's not anything Zootopia, but what it is, as I described, which there was a Simon Cowell as an owl. There's a Simon Cowell type in the second one. We'll get there. But yeah, in the first one, like me growing up with Cats Don't Dance, being like, wait, I've seen this before. Honestly, yes. Like, it has a lot in common with Cats Don't Dance. And honestly, if Cats Don't Dance doesn't get a lot of flack for its shit, why the fuck does Sing? Like, it's not. This isn't. It really is the same vein as I'm like Goat, which also didn't really get. Like, yeah. Oh my god. This is a movie I'll look back on fondly. Meow. Meow. But yeah, basically, Matthew McConaughey plays a koala. Grew up with the theater. He loves his theater. His dad owns it or owned it before it kind of no, yes, before it kind of fell to the wayside. He's trying to like raise some money to get it. Does some less than reputable means. Gathers his motley crew of has been Nobody's Singers during the guise of a singing competition. The winner gets $10,000, which he doesn't have. Part of it's a liar reveal story, which is a little annoying, but yeah, like everyone come like gathers together, they practice, they learn their own little personal life lessons, and they sing. Each individual character does have their own story, but they're very simplified stories. Like you're not gonna get fucking Citizen Kane here, but some of them I think do have a bit of nuance. Scarlett Johansson plays a porcupine that basically always played second fiddle to her boyfriend who fancied himself a rock star, but he kind of thucked. And then, but she turns out to be like really good as a singer and as a musician in general, and just begins to outshine him. So she tries to stand on her own 2 feet in his shadow, and she gets getting mocked by everyone around her for it. Blah blah blah. And her whole thing is to learn to stand proud of yourself. Um, Channing Tatum, is it Channing Tatum? I believe it's Channing Tatum. I'm gonna double check because I am 99% sure this is Channing Tatum who plays the gorilla. Uh, no, it's not Channing Tatum. I'm an idiot. Why am I mixing these two people up? Taron Egerton. He was in Kingsman. Maybe that's why. Maybe my brain went to Kingsman, then Kingsman 2, and then just thought of the weird. Maybe that's what they did, but it's not Channing Tatum. It's Taron Egerton. He plays this girl named Johnny. I think Johnny's my favorite in both of the movies because he has my favorite song sequence in both. Like the first one he sing is the Elton John song. Oh gosh, I'm st- yeah, I'm still standing better than I ever did, looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. Yeah, which is a really good song. But his story is he actually is nice voice. I try, but he basically his dad is a criminal, and Johnny he wants Johnny to be the family business. Johnny is also the driver, but Johnny just wants to sing. There we go. You got the singing clip. You're clear for the rest of the episode. I may or may not sing again. We'll see. It's sing, man. But basically Johnny wants to be a singer. His dad's a criminal. Johnny kind of screws over his dad, kind of unintentionally, but kind of it. This is something I won't spoil because a lot of people are mixed on who's at fault. I am kind of on the side of I'm in the middle, leaning slightly more towards Johnny's in the right because of how much he was pushed to do what he did and how much remorse was shown after the fact, especially because, well, the ultimate resolution does involve the dad realizing that his son is more important than what he wants his son to be. Like I said, these are very simple stories. They go through a very simple through line, but it all kind of culminates in a singing competition. The other one that is only in the first one, I think it's a shame. Seth MacFarlane voices a mouse named Mike. I you could say a lot about Seth MacFarlane and all the shows he makes, like Family Guy and whatnot. He is trained in vaudeville, and he is a very good singer. Like he sings a Sinatra song, "I did it my way." Like I can't do a fucking Sinatra, but whatever. But he sings that, and holy shit, easily my second favorite of the movie. Ah, yeah, there. Rosita. Who does Rosita? Oh yes, the comedian. They got sing-alongs out yet? I think the DVD of Sing does have a sing-along where they for each of the actual singing portions of it. Like you know how they did the sing-alongs for K-pop Demon Hunters, where all it really did was it played the same movie, including the sign language version. I believe so. I think so. I had to double check the DVD. Don't quote me on that. Clearly, his first favorite song of the film was "Bad Romance." No, no, mm, no, 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 no. Oh, like I know I just sound like I'm doing some over like a rudimentary. I want to say just doing a quick summation instead of talking about these movies in general. But that's what these movies are. It's just a singing competition. The simple joy of don't quote me. Dang it, Butcherson. I told you not to quote me on that. Like no, these movies make me happy because I like movies that are simple and straightforward. And wait a second, Taron Egerton sang an Elton John song in this movie and later went on to play Elton John himself. Yes, because he did that good as singing an Elton John song. Like the movies are fine, but it's all going to come down to how you feel about like just how the songs are sung. And I really like all of the songs in the movie. And Sing 2, which is the of course the sequel, the 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 story doesn't go anywhere special. Basically, they save the theater. Then the theater is actually doing pretty well due to the events in the first one. It's not like a thriving fucking like oh the theater's the head of the town. It just feels like a local theater that is making enough to just it's making enough money to like keep the doors open but also like make a few money bit of money on the side and do some advertising and do the it's thriving without being like cartoonishly big and like that's what it feels that's what the theater in Sing 2 feels like. And then when but what they want to do in Sing 2 is just like whoa the big city they're having their own competition. They're actually gathering people to host a show like out in their big theater. We've done a few shows here for a few years. I think we could do it. That's literally the premise of Sing 2, the overarching premise. And the the they make a promise that they almost can't keep. But they're trying to basically get this lion named Cab Calloway or Clay Calloway because like some because one of the characters just like, "Oh yeah, I know him." And then this movie was like, wait, you know Clay Calloway? You get him here, and you have your show. So they have to get Clay Calloway, who's played by Bono, because Bono has to fight to be relevant. But but no, I joke. But no, he Bono, of course, gets his song at the end there. It's wonderful, and Clay is well, Johnny is my favorite character in the both of these movies. Sing 2 cemented that my second favorite character is Ash, who is the porcupine, and her dynamic with Clay Calloway is awesome to me. Like these movies are refreshing to watch because they're so low stake. Like this isn't a world-ending threat. This isn't a like oh we have to sing or else the entire like we're gonna lose everything. These are people just trying to do something they love. Sometimes they make things worse, sometimes they make things better. It's I call this episode the simple joy of seeing because these movies to me represent a simple joy. And I think assuming that these movies aren't what if you think these movies are one thing, it's the whole Zootopia rant I did, and you're just not seeing it because you're missing out. You're missing out. Like even if this is not your cup of tea, like I like these because I don't mind musicals. I like good musicals. I like when the songs are sung well and they further the story, and if they don't further the story, like do some singing competition bullshit like this. Like I'm here to watch Johnny just basically do like a space opera. I don't care what you tell me about like what all that stuff. It's I may have to watch Sing too. My favorite Sing type movie is definitely Sweeney Todd. That's a good one. This is definitely more lighthearted than Sweeney Todd. Don't I mean, you're not going to see the Demon Barber of Fleet Street in funny cartoon animal sing movie, but do you, Fernie? Oh man. I, again, I know this is like a simple take on these movies. If you want to see if you like these, they did a short on Netflix. Just kind of like I wouldn't say an epilogue, but just kind of this is what's happening after Sing 2. Just where the characters are at. This is the juxtaposition of a musical being dark is hey, you must also like Repo, but the genetic opera. But there's a Halloween special they did for Netflix where they do Thriller, and they have all like the basic. It's basically just like the cast singing Thriller through a whole bunch of stuff. And if you want to see like the quality of the singers and just the animation, just a little taste of it, that's it. That's what you're getting. It's not gonna change lives. It's not gonna be just this harmonious, just this angelic voice save me from bored. No, it's just two animated movies with some really good singing of some decent songs and a simple, unoffensive story. That's all you're getting. That's what you're getting, and I really appreciate the hell of these movies for being honest with what they are. The next Scene 3 will be dark. Just look, it might be. Who knows? Who knows at this point? I don't even know if they're going to do Sing 3, but it is Illumination, so probably. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. Go watch Sing. Go watch Sing 2. I really like these movies. At least, but yeah, with all that being said, I think now I said this one was going to be. So how about that Joker 2? Look, I haven't seen Joker 2, and I'm still weirded out by the fact that it's a musical. I'll talk about it when I see it. But like if you're so for those who don't know or expecting something a little different, I want to reiterate as we kind of cut to the end here. This podcast, I will tell you things as I can if there's anything I want to teach you about movies, about like the actors, about like what's behind the scenes. I'll tell you some stuff as I learn it or some stuff that's fine interesting if you want, but that's not the primary goal of this. This is about film appreciation. I wanted to talk about Sing because they make me feel happy because they are very simple movies, and I yeah, like I am sometimes I might do a lore deep dive every once in a while if I'm passionate about it. But first and foremost, this podcast is just me sitting for an hour or two and just, hey, these are movies. This is why I like them. This perspective is very sensationalist because I am a casual movie enjoyer. I don't want to try too hard to talk about the the impact this movie had on our culture. I don't want to talk too hard about it. If I have an opinion on it, I will say it. There's some stuff I know, some stuff I don't, and some stuff I'm learning as I go. For God's sakes, I called Taron Egerton Channing Tatum. Music and films and at least singing numbers, right? Yeah, there is a lot to learn about musicals in general if that is your wheelhouse. There is a lot there that I am not qualified to say. When I have guests on here, when I have them on here, I want to shoot the shit with them about like our general opinions about this thing. Like I don't want to talk about this. Just sit on these fucking armoires and just with a fucking corncob pipe. You're saying my opinion. I joke that like we do all the correct opinions on Kino Corner, but I don't want to sit here in a fucking armoire and a corncob pipe. Well, you see, I appreciate these movies very casual, more than casual. My perspective is only the only correct one. That's just pompous and dickish. A lot of reviewers do shit like that. A lot of them, and I just yeah, genuine opinions and current. Right. That's what I want to give you my genuine opinion, as informed as I can be as I learn stuff. I do not know everything. I'm always learning more about the movies I like, and I'm trying to branch out for more movies. This is a film appreciation podcast. That's why we talk about the best in movies from a certain point of view. That's what this is. So I want to reinforce that. But as I reinforce that, I guess let's go ahead and go to the all powerful, the almighty. Y'all know what time it is. The wheel. Oop, there we go. I don't know jack about movies, so I've been loving these. Yeah, like I said, I'll tell you more. Like if it's yeah, if there's a movie franchise I legitimately know a lot about, and it can just gush about just behind the scenes shit, I will. But you're more often going to see that with something like Godzilla or Super Sentai, if I'm being honest. There, but I like more movies than that. Yeah, but let's go ahead and go to the wheel. So, as always, we have seven topics on here, and of course the last topic is I decide. No, why did I put three on there? But recurring from last time, we had the Life and Times of Benoit Blanc. Those are basically like Knives Out, Glass Onion, and Wake Up Dead Man. Basically, those three movies in that trilogy, in that series. It's more of a series at this point because it's going to go beyond those three. Of course, we have popcorn buckets are weird. I decided to throw that in there because I don't know what I'm going to do, but if it lands on there, I have to figure out what I'm going to do on a popcorn bucket episode, just talking about all the weird novelty popcorn buckets that have become so freaking prevalent in the past few years. The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser movies specifically. Like, I love those movies. But yeah. Also from last time, Have a Seat with the Storyteller. I want to talk about this show. It's a show I discovered very recently called Jim Henson's A Storyteller. There's only 9 episodes. I like it a lot. It is a hidden gem of a movie. I have it on DVD and I have been watching it. It makes me happy. Great show. Growing up in the cul-de-sac, that's a retrospective on Ed, Edd n Eddy. I said there's some episodes I would actually want to present some information. That would be one of them. I would want to. So this is how much I love Ed, Edd n Eddy, and maybe get a few tidbits of little behind the scenes stuff that I could probably shower you with. And then of course the Dark Knight trilogy, which is the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. I don't think I need to justify that. Replacing Sing. I've been dreading putting it on here. I've talked about it before, but I need to have it as its own topic. A truly never-ending story. And the reason I sound exasperated, I adore the first one. I like the second one. The trend continues from there on the third and the fourth. It's a downhill trend. I'm sorry. but that's something to talk about if it lands there. Now that I've jinxed myself, but the last one said is I decide. Normally it's the guest decide, but I don't have a guest, so I decide if it lands there. But without further ado, let us spin the wheel. Yes! No whammies, no whammies. Oh yes. Next time I'm gonna be able to tell you all about a hidden gem of a show that I love, 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 love. About called Jim Henson's The Storyteller. Okay, I that is gonna be an easy one to prepare for. Okay, alrighty, 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 alrighty. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Uh, Thank y'all for making chat active. That's what I look forward to. What I want to happen more often in these podcasts is if I want to talk with a guest, but I also want to talk with the chat. I want to just keep an active conversation going about like all these movies and everything. So I thought you had jinxed yourself. Don't worry, Griffin. I still jinx myself, but it's going to come when I least expect it. But I needed to talk about it at some point. Yeah. But no, like I have a chat, and I'm gonna make a channel on Discord, but I'm more on that later for guests. And everyone seems to have I try to schedule these as ahead of time as I can, but life's been happening. Shit happens. Cross that bridge when I always tend to cross that bridge when I get there, because most of the time between is usually for editing and yeah, but yeah, because I'm doing more stuff in Premiere. But again, I don't want to waste too much time on the podcast. That's all discussion I can have after the fact. Thank you all seriously for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.